going on, fragrance family? Welcome to another episode of Taking a Test Drive. This series is where I wear a scent on my skin as my scent of the day for several days, of course including today, from my own personal collection. It's time to give you my thoughts before it goes into the vault for a full-fledged review. Before I get into the video, this one was split by my good friend and fellow reviewer Dan, my Maker's Mish, back in 2019. He split this for me with no hesitation and was an amazing friend. If you want to see his thoughts, I'll put the video in description of his thoughts. And this was our last, I'd say, business transaction together before he left us. Definitely a dear friend of mine and a great person. You know, that is something that someone reaches out and he wanted to help out. So today's test drive is on the house of Dior and the discontinued and very hard to find Fahrenheit flanker called Fahrenheit Summer. Now, if you haven't checked out my video, I did a video on Fahrenheit 0 degree, another summer edition of the Fahrenheit branding. I don't know if these sell very well, I'll be quite honest. You know, you got the Aquas and the Cologne, and they continue to try to push these summer editions. I feel I like the twists to them, and they're not huge twists to the Fahrenheit original DNA, but this one right here, Fahrenheit Summer, had a few years under its belt. So let's delve into this one. Now let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. The release date on this particular release, I know that they released these from my recollection. I wasn't really deep into fragrances, going on Fragrantica base notes, things like that, until later, you know, 2008, 2009. I believe this is a 2006 version. I know they released, and from my research, they released one in 2001, 2006, and 2007. Some of them have a gradient paint that goes clear at the top of the bottle. Obviously mine is not that. You can see it's red at the top, but it's clear at the bottom of the bottle. So from my research, I believe that was a 2006 release. I wasn't going to go too much into it. I know a lot of people that are really into this Fahrenheit brand will tell me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm sure they will. And I'll take that information for the fragrance review of this release, and I thank you for that information. Nose behind this, there's only a nose attached to the 2000. I don't know. It always says Bertrand de Chafour on these releases, these summer releases, so I'm going to take that, but take that with a grain of salt. He also did 0 degree, so it kind of makes sense because that was around that time that 0 degree was done and these ones were done. Major notes to my nose, violet, of course, cedar and mandarin in this release. So let's, again, it's my scent of the day. I'm wearing it. There she is, but I'm going to remind myself of the introduction. I'm going to do a couple sprays on the back of my hand to remind me of this introduction. And again, with these summer editions or the 0 degree, Aqua and all that, you're thinking thinner opening, and of course citruses are going to be a main factor, and this is no slouch in that area. The opening of Summer highly reminded me of 0 degree, actually, almost to being identical. I just did the video on 0 degree, so, you know, I had, you know, several days with that. Now I had several days with this. It could very well be the same formula. I wouldn't be surprised because, of course, the same nose and around that time. So I wouldn't be really shocked. The citrus is up top. Like 0 degree, really uplift this release. They take the spotlight. You got that mandarin orange, that grapefruit blast here in the opening, which are uplifting. They're very thin. You have some watery aspects in this opening. It really does give the scent and the overall vibe of this release very much a summer vibe. The original DNA of Fahrenheit starts peeking through, like many of these summer editions from Dior, and that OG Fahrenheit DNA is very much diluted in these summer releases, which makes all kinds of sense. You still get that watery aspect that I get from 0 degree, which really aids the thinness of this opening, and usual leathery tones and some green aspects in this release. Once going into the heart and the Fahrenheit DNA starts coming through, that amplifies, of course, and of course those citruses start to dissipate and basically takes over the scent at the end of a few minutes. So that's all you're left with. There's a bit of cedar sandalwood. There is some woody tones. There's the patchouli back in it here to add to the scent. Honestly, there's not much to really review in this release. Like when I get to the full-fledged review, there's not going to be much more to say, I'll be honest. Maybe it's going to give me more. It's more about longevity, projection, things I'm going to be testing on my skin more than what it actually gives me, because really, between this and Zero Degree, it's pretty much the same type of formula. So solid overall scent, but you're really just buying the scent for the opening. Like I said in Zero Degree, as the rest of the scent, you smelt this before. So now let's get into Seasons, Day Night versatility and performance. Seasons, of course, it's on the bottle, so you got to say summer, and yes, it's great for summer. It's also great for the start of spring, especially when things are starting to warm up, and the start of fall. Honestly, I really feel like this could be a 3 season out of 4. There's no reason why not wearing this in the winter, you know, especially as an office scent, casual wear scent. There's no problem there. Day or night, I feel like either way. Obviously, this is more of a daytime scent because of the brightness of it. Versatility is above average. There's nothing bold, daring, crazy, and like I said, you can almost wear it all year round, casually. You can dress it up if you want. It's not really the best for that. Now let's get into performance, and of course that's where these summer editions kind of lack. The longevity is 4 to 6 hours on this one. Projection was below average. Goes skin for a good amount of time. So it really kind of, the first initial blast, like I'm smelling it now, it will amplify. People will smell you, but I would say give it, and I'm being generous here, probably a good half hour. It is very, then it goes on your skin, and it really isn't something that's going to project quite a bit unless you want to drain your bottle. And this of course, this juice now is, these bottles are in niche territory pricing, so you want to conserve your sprays, but at the same time you want to enjoy the scent, so it's a double-edged sword. So my final thoughts on Fahrenheit Summer Eau de Toilette. Fahrenheit Summer is an excellent freshie from the Fahrenheit line. I haven't met a bad Fahrenheit release yet, but to my nose, it's a little redundant, of course, with Zero Degree in my collection, but really super redundant for anybody that's just a casual fragrance head. This is a fragrance just like Zero Degree. It is going to be one of those fragrances that a collector is going to be purchasing. I feel I got better performance with the Zero Degree from this, you know, just early testing of both releases, and I felt the citruses were a little more vivid or a little more prominent in the Zero Degree also. So I don't know what the differences were in regards to that, but that's what I could compare those two for. At the end of the day, like I said in the Zero Degree video, this is a collector piece, just like the other one. That's about it. It's too old to find, too expensive to buy, and you know, it's just basically a solid piece to add to your Fahrenheit collection for a collector only. That's pretty much all this is now at this point. I'm very happy to have it because I do love the Fahrenheit brand, and I do want to sniff all different types of Fahrenheits, especially the ones before I really got into fragrances, and this is one of those that I kind of missed with the Zero Degree, and kind of kicking myself just to see what they're all about. Now I can sniff them, enjoy them. They're in my collection. This one was split, so I don't have too much juice. The Zero Degree was not split, so I do have like a 3/4 of a bottle. But today I'm done with Fahrenheit Summer. You're not going to see a video on this probably for months on my channel, or maybe even more than a year. So it's time for you to hit us up in the comments below. Let us know what you think of Fahrenheit Summer. If you have smelt this release, do you want to see Fahrenheit release another summer flanker, or really you'd like to see something a little more darker or different from the Fahrenheit brand? I'm looking forward to reading your comments below. As always, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your Fahrenheit flanker wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube.